The situation in Myanmar, appeals, military developments, and international implications. Calls from the National Unity Government. Ban Ki-moon, the Minister of Defense for the National Unity Government, NUG, of Myanmar, has urged military council battalions and regional commands to collaborate closely with civilians. He underscored the necessity of this cooperation to build a lasting peace and restore stability to the country. Meanwhile, Marwan Kantan, the Prime Minister of the National Unity Government, declared that we are approaching the end of the Spring Revolution, which has persisted for over 3 years. He highlighted the importance of celebrating the victory in a balanced manner, integrating all revolutionary forces, including military, political, and administrative components. Appeals from revolutionary groups. The People's Embrace Group is calling for terrorist factions to cooperate with the NUG as the military begins to weaken. The National Unity Government has strongly condemned the Military Council's airstrikes on hospitals, which have resulted in significant loss of life and property damage. The India from Myanmar group has urged the Indian government to cease its support for the Military Council, including the sale of weapons, and to reassess its policies that conflict with the democratic aspirations of the Myanmar people. Military situation, and casualties. Since the coup, there have been nearly 5,800 airstrikes reported. The Myanmar National Democratic Alliance Army, MNDAR, has taken control of the regional military headquarters in Lakau. The Khani National Defense Force, KNDF, announced that it seized 5 military council camps in July, while the All-National Liberation Army, TNLA, has captured all military council camps in Chamay. According to the Assistance Association for Political Prisoners, APP, 5,478 people have died during the Spring Revolution. Ban Ki-moon's appeal. Ban Ki-moon has called on military units, including battalions, division commands, and regional operations commands, to quickly reach out and collaborate with the NUG and revolutionary organizations to work with civilians. He warned that the era of military dictatorship is ending, and the notion that privileged individuals can oppress civilians has collapsed. The People's Government and revolutionary organizations are now the key to preventing the disintegration of the Union. Ban Ki-moon urged military council members to abandon their loyalty to the military dictator and join forces with the NUG and revolutionary organizations before it is too late. We are fighting the system, not the people. We don't want you to lose your lives, nor do we want the lives of our revolutionary comrades and the public to be in vain. We respect not only your lives but also your dignity, and we urge you to stop and resolve the current situation in time. Ban Ki-moon emphasized that military leaders, including commanders of divisions and operations, need to contact and coordinate with the NUG and ethnic revolutionary organizations to arrest and remove Min Aung Hlaing and the top generals, thereby saving the future of the army and the country. The CDM soldier organization also called on the military to respect civilian command in line with democratic standards, fulfill the army's primary defense duties, and undertake reforms to develop a federal army that the people desire. Prime Minister Marwan Kantan of the NUG acknowledged that the end of the Spring Revolution is near. He stressed the importance of celebrating the victory in a balanced way and congratulated the revolutionary allied forces led by MNDAR and TNLA for their successful occupation of the northeastern military headquarters in Ramaka on August 3. He expressed confidence that ongoing efforts to balance political and military actions across the country will lead to further successes and eventually the downfall of the coup d'état group. The end of the coup is necessary to quickly alleviate the suffering caused by war and inflation, which is currently severely affecting people's lives and livelihoods due to fuel shortages. Revolutionary forces' efforts. As one side intensifies the war, the other must focus on political consultations, and only through continued collaboration can this struggle be brought to a swifter end. On August 6, the People's Embrace Group urged officers in terrorist armies to cooperate with the NUG government as the military weakens due to the excessive self-interest and power madness of Senior General Min Aung Hlaing. The group emphasized that cooperation with the NUG and ethnic armed organizations is essential to arrest and remove Min Aung Hlaing and the top generals, which is critical to saving the future of both the army and the country. The military defeats are growing, and the coup is beginning to collapse due to Min Aung Hlaing's excessive selfishness and power madness. The power-crazy and oppressive brutality of military leader Min Aung Hlaing has incited the People's Armed Revolution, leading to significant casualties among soldiers, including command commanders, division commanders, and military operations commanders, who are either dying, being captured as prisoners of war, or committing suicide. Additionally, Min Aung Hlaing has punished military officers who resisted until the end in the Battle of Lao Cai but surrendered due to a lack of reinforcements, imposing severe sentences, including life imprisonment, as punishment for the defeat in the war. The current political situation, intertwined with the military crisis, has led to the arrest and punishment of many senior military officers, including regional commanders. The army, initially formed during the struggle for independence, is beginning to collapse due to Min Aung Hlaing's excessive selfishness and madness for power. Under Min Aung Hlaing, a power-crazy military leader oppressing and destroying the country and the army, no senior military officer's life, position, wealth, or future security for their families can be assured. Therefore, the arrest and removal of Min Aung Hlaing and the top generals are crucial to saving the army and the country's future. Respect for civilian command according to democratic standards and fulfilling the military's primary duty of national defense are necessary to recognize the interests and existence of all ethnic groups and to reform the federal army that the people desire. Condemnation of airstrikes and international action. On August 2, the NUG Ministry of Health strongly condemned the Military Council's airstrikes on hospitals and civilian homes, which resulted in 8 deaths and numerous injuries. The NUG highlighted that these attacks are blatant violations of the Geneva Convention, United Nations Security Council resolutions, and international laws on humanitarian aid and human rights. On August 1, the Military Council conducted airstrikes with 4 heavy bombs in Lokai, which was not a battlefield. The following day, August 2, the military dropped 17 bombs on Yoyuan village in Kalkan district, causing significant damage to civilian homes, hotels, and vehicles. Similar attacks occurred on July 10 when a drone bombed a rural health branch building in Tanangkong village and on July 15 when a district public hospital in Tandwai city in Rakhine state was bombed. During these attacks, 8 people, including health workers, civilians, and PDF comrades, were killed and many others were injured. The NUG Ministry of Health strongly condemned these deliberate attacks on hospitals by the Military Council, calling them clear violations of international laws and humanitarian principles. They urged the international community to act swiftly and effectively to halt these war crimes and human rights violations. Calls for international support. The India from Myanmar group sent a letter to the Indian government on August 5 requesting that it cease supporting the Military Council, including stopping arms sales. The group also urged the Indian government to reconsider its policies, which contradict the democratic aspirations of the Burmese people and risk damaging future India-Myanmar relations. India from Myanmar demands that the Indian government immediately halt human rights violations and release Burmese war refugees who are on hunger strike. The letter also called for an end to direct trade using Myanmar jet and the Indian rupee, and the group strongly urged the Indian government to stop all business activities with the Military Council. India from Myanmar further advocated for a reassessment of policies led by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi that go against the wishes of the Burmese people and potentially harm future relations between India and Myanmar. According to the Myanmar Institute for Strategic and Policy Studies, ISB Myanmar, the Military Council has conducted nearly 5,800 airstrikes across the country since the coup. Over 1,500 airstrikes have taken place in Shan State since Operation 1027 began in October 2023, accounting for more than 26% of airstrikes nationwide. Kayin State had the second highest number of airstrikes, with over 1,200 attacks. Airstrikes have been reported in 147 out of 330 townships across the country. Among these, Sagai region had the most with 33 townships, followed by Shan State with 25 townships. The number of airstrikes has nearly doubled since Operation 1027 began, with the count rising from about 2,000 before the operation to at least 3,800 afterward. On August 4, at least 13 civilians were killed when the military council airstrike targeted Kantong and Wayan villages in Singyu Township, according to MADAMNEWS. In northern Shan State, fighting remains intense, and airstrikes continue, with at least 4 people killed when the military council bombed Kukai village on August 5. Over the past 3 years, since the military coup, nearly 2,000 civilians have been killed and nearly 4,000 injured due to military airstrikes and heavy weapons attacks. Recent military developments. The MDA successfully took control of the Northeastern Military Command in Lakau on August 3. This victory followed a month of intense fighting, which resulted in significant casualties and the displacement of over 200,000 people from the city. A source familiar with the military situation in Lakau stated that the MDA has fully controlled the Northeastern Military Command and is still searching for some leaders. Details are expected to be released when the Kakong forces provide further information. The MDA announced that they had seized the Northeast Regional Military Headquarters since July 25, although the Military Council initially denied this claim. Since July 23, the MDA had been attacking the Military Council's Northeast Military Headquarters, including the nearby 626 Battalion, and the 100-bed Medical Battalion. The presence of these military units made it challenging for the MDA to fully control the headquarters, leading to a protracted battle. By August 3, after a month of fighting, the MDA had succeeded in capturing and controlling the Northeast Regional Military Headquarters. During this period, heavy weaponry, small arms fire, and airstrikes resulted in over 100 civilian deaths, including members of social assistance groups, and nearly 200 injuries. Hundreds of homes were destroyed, and over 200,000 people were displaced. Battles and territorial changes. On August 3, the Karenni National Defense Force, KNDF, announced that during its confrontations with the military council, it had seized and destroyed 4 camps and a gate, killing more than 50 military council soldiers. A month-long battle from June 15 to July 15 in Pinglong Township saw the military council clashing with POW militia, PNO, and KNDF joint forces. The KNDF targeted a military column advancing towards Songpyong and Nagwo village in Pinglong Township, resulting in nearly 20 military council members killed. Additionally, a military camp and a police station were captured and set on fire, with weapons and ammunition seized. From July 18 onwards, the KNDF and allied forces captured and burned several military camps and checkpoints, including the Loilong camp and checkpoint on Maubihi Sang Road between Yangshui and Pekon Township. During these battles, over 30 military council members were killed, and various weapons and ammunition were captured. In July, conflicts between the military council and Karni joint forces occurred in Loikau, Pasang, and Dimoso townships, leading to counterattacks and further clashes in Pekong, Binlong, and Yangshui townships in Shan State. In Loikau City, drone and bombing attacks by the military council resulted in over 5 civilian deaths and numerous injuries. More than 60 homes were burned down during almost a month of fighting. On August 5, the TNLA captured all remaining military council camps in Chorkham, including the No. 1 Operational Command Headquarters. Since June 24, TNLA forces have been attacking artillery and military council battalions in Chorkham, eventually gaining control of all areas in the city. A local resident reported that the capture of all camps by TNLA took time due to the last remaining camp under the No. 1 Operational Command Headquarters continuing to resist. Outside Chorkham, the military council held a strategic position, making it difficult for TNLA forces to advance. However, the TNLA eventually captured the location, leading to the apparent surrender of the military council. On August 5, the military council's leader stated through state-owned media that security forces had to withdraw from northern Shan State, promising to restore peace across the entire country, including that region. In addition to capturing all military bases in Chorkham, TNLA and PDF forces have also taken towns such as Nangcho Singhu, Mungum, and Mako as part of the second phase of the 1027 campaign. Humanitarian crisis, and international response. Meanwhile, Lakhao has been under the control of the MDA. The Assistance Association for Political Prisoners, APP, reported that 5,478 civilians have been killed by the military council since the coup began in February 2021. The app continues to document ongoing human rights abuses and has urged the international community to intervene and support the people of Myanmar. The app has compiled a list of around 2,300 murder victims whose names are still under investigation and need confirmation. As of August 5, 2024, the total number of arrests and detentions, since February 1, 2021, stands at 27,150, with 20,715 still in detention. Among those detained, 9,299 have been sentenced to prison terms, and 123 have been sentenced to death. The app also reported that 167 people have been sentenced to death, including 44 in absentia. They urged anyone with information on detainees and fatalities during the Spring Revolution to contact them at fatality-data@up.org or detention-data@up.org. The app's figures reflect their collected data, but actual numbers on the ground may be higher. Ongoing struggle for democracy. This week's news highlights the continued efforts of Myanmar's people striving for democracy and human rights. The international community's support is crucial for Myanmar's pursuit of justice and freedom. Global and national efforts are essential to continue backing Myanmar's fight for democratic governance and human rights amid the ongoing crisis. The situation remains fluid, with significant developments occurring on the ground and continued international implications. In summary, the ongoing conflict in Myanmar reflects a deepening crisis involving severe military confrontations, humanitarian suffering, and complex international dynamics. The calls for international intervention and support are growing, as the country navigates a tumultuous path toward a resolution of the crisis, and a return to stability.